Should I buy a house in 2022? I am getting that question nonstop right now. And let's just do something real quick, because this is the most important one I just want to knock out of there real quick. So sometimes people will say, well, isn't the market going to crash? I'm going to wait till the market crashes. Dude, you're going to be waiting a long time. We have a supply and demand issue, which I've covered a billion times, okay? And then people go, well, rates are going up. I'm going to wait for them to come down. Okay, if you look up a historical graph of rates, the lowest they ever were was the last 2 years. We are still in the lows. Like, a rate in the 3s is not high, guys. So saying you're gonna wait for them to go down, it's like, cool, I'll see you, gosh, never? Maybe 20 years from now? I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. We haven't had rates like that before recently, so that is not the norm. Okay, very important to say. And the whole concept of, well, rates are too high, I'm gonna keep renting. Well, if you're renting, you own nothing, so your rate's like, you know, 1,000,000,000%, right? And you're like, well, but then I don't have the responsibility of ownership. Yeah, you also don't have the appreciation gain. You don't have any control. And as inflation, you know, continues to go up, those rents are going up too. And that's what we're seeing. There was actually an article, really good article, and it was showing where in the country rents are dramatically going up. And of course, it's a lot of the hot markets. And the thing with being a renter is you have zero control. Okay? If you're in a rent control area, you have some control, but most of the country is not rent controlled. So, should I buy a house in 2022? Do you need a house? Are you ready to buy a house? Those are the two big questions I always ask. And the reason is some of the behavior I'm seeing right now, people aren't necessarily ready, but they're rushing to be ready because they're scared they're gonna miss out. Okay, FOMO is playing into this market like I've never seen. You know, we saw it in 2020, 2021, and I'm seeing it again in 2022. So what are the drivers? Well, there's a lot. If you really start to think about what's going on in society, we're all emotionally triggered constantly now, right? And a lot of it's because of the media headlines we're seeing. It's like, rates going up will continue to go up. And it makes it sound like rates are 9% and they're gonna be 30% and we're all gonna have no money. And the reason the headlines are like that is because you click on it. And all of those newspapers, all of those headlines, the reason they are like that is they're clickbait. And clickbait makes you look, and the more you look, the more they make, and the more you click, the more they make. So they do all these headlines that freak you out to make you click, right? I mean, this title could be argued as a little clickbaity. Okay, so media headlines, they're just trying to make money off of you guys. Okay, so let's ignore them a little bit. Like, if you guys want to know what's going on in mortgage land, check out my channel. I'm licensed in 48 states. If you watch my channel, you guys know I did a video about the #1 thing to do in 2022 if you want to buy a house, and it was to get a plan. So since I've released that video, I've been on 20 to 30 planning calls a day with people around the country. So if you guys want to know what's going on, check it out here. This is the real thing. It's like, you know, if someone's asking, you know, a truck driver, right? Hey, you know, the media, truck drivers, they're never gonna drive trucks anymore because of X, Y, and Z. Oh my God, is that really happening? But then I talked to a trucker and I'm like, hey dude, I saw this headline. He's like, yeah, I'm still driving the truck, right? Talk to the person who lives the life. Okay, so that's the first thing. If you guys are getting freaked out about headlines, feel free to reach out. I will try to talk you off a cliff. But remember, they make money when you look at their articles. Okay, whew. #1. Okay, #2, that's what's feeding into the fear of missing out. It's these media headlines. It's also the fact that we've had very low inventory for the last few years. One of the big drivers of the low inventory was COVID. A lot of people weren't listing their houses during COVID. So COVID's easing off. At least people are starting to feel more comfortable going out. Guys, I got on a plane. I did. I got on a plane and I went to Mexico and I stayed at a hotel with other people and I didn't wear a mask outside. Okay, so if you guys follow me, you know I'm the biggest COVID afraid person you'll ever meet. So you'll start to see more listings because there are people who are now like, okay, we can move on. Okay, great. So that should help with inventory a little bit. Now, should you buy a house? Okay. If you are a renter and you are thinking that you want to be a home buyer, I think it's always a good idea to start as early as possible. Caveat to that, if you are not financially ready and it's gonna put you in over your head and you're gonna be stretching, I would recommend working on whatever we need to work on with your plan, okay, so that when you become a homeowner, you can have that house be a benefit and not a burden. Okay, so let me give you just a couple quick examples of some stuff I've seen recently where my suggestion was to wait. Okay, because people always assume that since I'm a mortgage lender, I'm always like, yeah, give me your loan, give me your loan. And look, I want every loan, I'm not gonna lie. However, I want your house to be a benefit and not a burden. Okay, number one, if you are thinking of buying in a state that you've never been in, okay, I would strongly recommend you visit that state before you buy in that state. I would recommend that you do research such as property taxes, state taxes, but honestly, you gotta get your feet on the soil. You've gotta walk through the grocery store, you've gotta see the neighborhoods, you know, relying on pictures from Zillow and a video from a realtor, I wouldn't do it. I suggest you don't. So if you're thinking of buying in another state and you don't want to go to that state to even check it out before you buy, I would suggest you wait. Because the fact you won't spend $600 to get a plane ticket to another state and a hotel makes me go, this could turn out really poorly, okay? Another reason to wait. If right now, let's say that you're in school, maybe you're going to nursing school, or, you know, there's so many different schools people are in right now, and your income is based off of a part-time job, okay? And we know you're gonna be out of school within 6 months to a year, and your pay is gonna increase dramatically. My advice would be to wait, because the house that you buy at this part-time income likely is not the house that you're gonna want as soon as you start making more money. Now, if the house that you can afford at the part-time income is perfect for you, great, but that's not what I hear. What I hear is, well, I don't wanna miss out, so you know, if I can just buy something now, then, you know, when I get the new job, I'll buy another house. And it's like, whoa, we're saving again. You know, you're gonna have this other house, are you gonna rent it? Are you gonna sell it? What are you gonna do? You're creating so much work for yourself when it would be in your best interest to wait. Okay, so those are two good reasons to wait. Now, what's another good reason to wait? You're not ready financially. Okay, and here's an example of when I think you're not ready financially. And look, this isn't, could you still get a loan? Sure, but these are my personal opinions, okay? So if, for instance, your rent was $2,000 a month and you want to buy a house that's $4,000 a month, even if I look at your paperwork and you qualify, if you have $1,000 in savings and no money left over at the end of the month, I would be advising you to really do a budget and figure out how you're gonna make that payment, because your payment doubling or tripling, if you don't have the experience making the budget changes and saving, it could be a really rude awakening. And if it takes you even 2 or 3 months, you know, the thing I always advise is go to mint.com, love that website, not affiliated with them, I just love it. And do a budget, categorize your spending, see if there's anything you can cut. Because if your rent's $2,000 and you look at that budget and you're like, there's nothing I can cut. There's daycare, there's gas, I mean, there's groceries, there's nothing fun in there. Well, then a $4,000 a month payment is not the answer, okay? So really being aware with your finances is important for ultimately, once again, having that house be a benefit and not a burden. So those are the 3 big reasons I see to wait. The other one that comes up a little bit, so we saw so much marriage drama in 2020 and 21. Oh my goodness, people did not like staying home together, I'll tell you that. If you're in a relationship where it's really rocky and you're not sure it's gonna work, please don't buy a house together. Seriously. Like, it is not the time to, it's like, you know how people always joke like, oh, they tried to have a baby to save their marriage and it didn't work. Yeah, same thing with a house, and just like a child, it is really messy if you break up. So that would be another reason to wait, would be to get your relationship on stable ground, okay? Another reason to wait, oh my gosh, who knew I had so many reasons to wait, would be if you and your partner are on different pages. So if one person thinks that they can afford $3,000 a month and the other one's saying, no, we can only afford $1,500, I would say before you start shopping, you need to get on the same page. So once again, we're going back to budgeting, okay? So those are the big reasons to wait. The reasons, you know, rates going up, that's not a reason to wait, that's a reason to look. You know, the housing market crashing, I really don't see it coming. Would I love prices to go down? Oh my God, yes. Yeah, I would love prices to go down. I would love it. Even though I'm a homeowner, I would love prices to go down. But I don't see it happening. You've got inflation and a lack of supply. So that's where I feel, you know, and could it take a year to find a house? Sure, it might take in certain markets 2 years or 3 years. But that's why if you want to go from being a renter to a homeowner, you do want to get pre-approved and you want to start that process as soon as possible, okay? Provided you don't have any of those reasons I listed to wait. Now, oh my God, it's taking so long to buy a house. What should I do in the meantime? Stack cash. Okay? And if you're like, oh, I don't want it to take that long, it might not. But you know, where I'm sitting right now, it took me 3 years to find it. And during that time, my income went up, my assets went up, and that's how I was able to afford it. And I'm really glad it took that long and that I didn't settle because I got the house I wanted. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you guys want to do a 15-minute planning session, please get on my calendar. It could be booked up a couple weeks out, but I'm here to help. Alyssa on my team also does a bunch of those calls, and so does Julie. So we want to help you guys, and I'm licensed in 48 states, so I can help you everywhere except for Utah and Rhode Island, but I'm working on Rhode Island. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope this video was helpful.